Welcome to the Real Turf Techs podcast for the technician that wants to get real. Follow along as we talk to industry professionals and address hot topics that we all face. Along the way, we'll learn tips and tricks. I'm your host, Trent Manning. Let's have some fun.
Thank you so much for joining us, Justin. I'll just clip this right here on your shirt.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. We can leave this right here, and I want to hear all about your adventurous trip getting to San Diego from Wyoming.
All right. Well, it's not that exciting, but, woke up Sunday morning to get here, mid-Sunday afternoon, direct flight. Woke up to the roads being closed due to avalanche control. They shut down the roads, said 7 to 9 hours to open. It never takes 7 to 9 hours, so I'm like, I'm just going to go anyway. On my way, flight got canceled, so turned around, headed back home, figured out a new flight, headed out, had an avalanche slide maybe 20 minutes in front of us, so we're shut down for a few more hours. That flight gets canceled. So we start headed back to town, get a new flight, and thankfully roads opened back up and finally made it on the flight. Got here, just after midnight Monday morning, so it was, another 12 hours of the day or whatever than I was planning on, but yeah, it sounds like a lot, but it's normal where I live, so
that's like, just another day living
if you
in
wanted
Wyoming.
if you wanted a crazier story in the 90s and late 80s, like when most of my friends were born, we had what were called canyon babies, and it's because their moms would give birth in the canyon because they couldn't get past the avalanches. So
oh wow, okay,
a little more extreme.
Yeah, that's a little more extreme.
Yeah,
than,
for me it was just it's
a long delay getting
just part of life. So
all right, well, good.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you think about your first show? How are you enjoying it?
It's been a great experience. I think most people would say fairly overwhelming. I'm a fairly quiet person, tend to be introverted. I came out to do this morning with you just because I really appreciate all you've done for us equipment managers. And so I was like, I've already been on the podcast once, might as well come again and, support this thing because, it's important for all the rest of the equipment managers to kind of get plugged into each other because we're kind of our own islands unto ourselves. So, in a lot of ways, unless we intentionally, reach out to others and stuff. So, and it's been what's really helped progress my career. So anyway, getting back to the show part, the classes have been awesome, very educational. This whole industry show has just been, drinking out of a fire hose. But
yes, yeah. Definitely like drinking out of the fire hose. What was the best education you attended?
Honestly, it was your class.
Oh,
so
yeah, of course it was.
Yeah.
I did pay Justin to say that.
Yeah, I'll expect my payment in full next week.
Yes,
so.
I will.
Anyway, but no, it was just nice for the tips and tricks. We're in process of building another 9 holes. We want to expand the shop, and there's a lot of things that just gave great ideas on things we can add to the shop to really improve the workflow and stuff like that. So it's been
awesome.
So that was great. Also taking the case study for Applebrook out there in Pennsylvania for their new facility. They did like a breakdown of costs and process of building a whole new facility because there is the option we might be building a new facility versus just expanding. So that was a great, just very concise breakdown. That was awesome to be able to see how that actual process works. So.
And what club was that?
I think it was Applebrook.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Pennsylvania. I might have said that wrong. It's something Brook.
Is that where Terry Apple's at? No, you don't know. We're polling the audience here. All 2 of them. Well, sorry, 3. We got 3 people in the audience. Whoa, here comes Chris Whitaker to make number 4 in the audience. So, mental note to self, and since we're recording this, hopefully I'll remember. Maybe don't pick the 9 o'clock slot as soon as the show opens on the last day of show. That's okay though.
I mean, you did put out the announcements.
I did put out the announcements, and does he count as a guest? He's taking pictures. So yeah, you're a guest. All right, hey, we got our 5th guest. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. What? Sorry,
No.
JR calls himself the squirrel.
Yeah.
I'm pretty squirrely too.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. It's
bright light over there.
Yeah, something shiny.
Yeah,
You're like,
let's do that over there.
Yeah, that's 100% how I operate. So,
what's the coolest thing you saw on the trade show floor?
So the main focus for us when they sent me to the show, we're moving a lot into the robotics stuff. So seeing all the new drop stuff from Toro and John Deere to, the new Husqvarna stuff. We're already heavily involved with Husqvarna mowers.
Okay.
I've got 13 of them already. So,
Oh, awesome.
and we would like to double that fleet this year. So we'll see how that actually turns out. But so that stuff was cool.
Anything in particular that led you to Husqvarna over the
Um,
other competitors?
They were the most proactive towards us.
Yeah.
And
fair
then
enough.
when they did come out to demo for us, because we're out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, cell service and all that's limited. So their system worked well on our property. All this new RTK stuff looks awesome. We're just not sure how it's going to actually work out on our property because we're so remote.
Yeah, that
Like
makes sense.
3/4 of my day I have no cell service. So
I mean, are they putting a RTK repeater or something on property?
well, that's what we've been looking into is that
Yeah.
option. So, Husqvarna doesn't use the RTK, so we haven't gone that route yet, but our distributor just picked up 2 more brands, and so they're like, well, I'll just bring you some options just in case. So
Okay.
they have
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
Husqvarna, now they have Nexmo, Crest, so,
Cool.
see what
Yeah.
works. So
So John Deere's got some new stuff or not really?
not really.
Okay.
you know.
But Toro's got some.
Yes, they got lots. Honestly, that new triplex is going to be, looks like it's going to be really sweet for the fairway units. Also, the Firefly automatics looks pretty awesome as well. It's all up and coming,
Yeah. I got caught or trapped, however you want to call it, from Firefly yesterday as
Yeah.
I was trying to get out of here.
Yeah.
And talking about so they designed that cutting unit like from the ground up.
Yeah.
So it's totally different than any other cutting unit I've ever seen.
Did you did you touch the cutting unit?
Yes.
Yeah, so
did.
those adjustment, I like that. Like, it's just a very
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
positive, very
Yes.
just concise feeling,
They
versus-
said the rear roller, how to cut. I know the audience is going to love this when we get deep in the weeds. So the how to cut adjustment, the gentleman told me it was 10 thousandths per click
yeah,
on the rear roller. I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah,
And then the reel to bed knife adjustment was 6.5 10 thousandths. And so I was giving him a hard time. I said, you just wanted to get in between John Deere and Toro.
right, yeah,
Because Deere's 5 and Toro's 7. And
right, yeah,
it's
6.5.
Oh, they are? I didn't know that. So,
It's
yeah.
kind of like the guy who says he's like 5'11" and a half.
oh, yeah. I got to throw that in.
Yeah.
Not quite 6
Yeah,
foot.
not quite
but,
there.
Yeah. I think my daughter's 5'2.5",
Yeah. Yeah.
Is trying to get to 5'3".
Yep.
Maybe one day. But yeah. So what all did Toro have?
So they have partnered.
I hadn't been to their booth yet.
So they partnered with Echo for some of their robotic stuff. So they have mowers that are similar to the Husqvarnas. They offer much larger options, which has some nice benefits, for that wider cutting path. The ones that we use have the 9-inch cutting path, and so they aren't necessarily fast, but they work 24 hours a day. So they cut an acre and a half a day.
Okay.
And right now we're running them exclusively on our landscaping areas. But we're trying with this new grow in to put robots out there at least for the initial grow in, and then to maintain the rough. And we're trying to decide what we're doing with fairways.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
they do provide a great cut on the fairway. These Husqvarnas do, because we've already experimented with that. It just comes down to what they want for appearance. So, they still really love the stripes, and I understand that. So
Yeah, that's one thing I guess I've saw with that, just pictures I've seen with the robotic stuff. It's all the little tire tracks going back and forth.
Yes.
It's not necessarily the most appealing to the
Yeah.
eye.
it actually looks great in our landscaping. It really does. You just have to work with it for when they're doing the transport paths, when they're done mowing, that you put it around the outer perimeter. Otherwise, it'll just cut right through everything they just cut. And so you just have this one random line that's just
Okay.
straight through everything
Yeah.
else. But other than that, it's actually very appealing. I'll have to show you some pictures of it. So
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think maybe in the EM roundtable, somebody was talking about they're getting frustrated that it's basically mowing the cleanup in a 3 to 9 direction. So it's just like back and forth. And then somebody else in the group said that they come out with a firmware update.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
you
I
know,
was gonna
to-
say ours don't do that. Ours
yeah.
do the regular cleanup passes. So,
Okay. Nice.
yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, they've been awesome. I change blades once a month,
Really?
which
All
is,
right.
I mean, granted, we're in cool season grasses, so
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
less aggressive. But we've been for me, it's kind of a relief because we added on 16 acres of sod that we need to take care of. And
Mhm.
instead of buying another big rotary mower and all that I have to change oil and do stuff on, which is obviously part of my job, but I'm already swamped,
Yeah,
having these
yeah,
mowers
right.
that just once a month I go out, change all the blades, make sure everything's cleaned up on them, let them roll again. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's awesome.
it just makes it nice. So.
And I guess the other thing that y'all deal with there, you're so isolated, it's probably hard to find labor.
Yeah, and that is the biggest thing because, when we started bringing them on, a lot of our people were like, "Oh, are you replacing us?" We're like, "No, we're just growing so fast. Like, you guys aren't going anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
we can't keep up with all this expansion." So
Right.
it does help a lot in that sense. Because I was actually pretty anti-robotics when I came into the industry, just because small town, I'm like, we just need to support the community, like hire more people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But after 4 years, it's so hard to get people. We've
Yeah,
tried to
right.
expand the crew and it's just been super difficult. So it's like, okay, well, then we just jumped in full on into robotics, both feet. And like I said, we've been very pleased with it so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, didn't you say you were in a town of 2,000?
2000.
Yeah, 2,000.
Yeah.
So
just,
not a huge labor pool. No,
I mean, we are
2,000
halfway
people.
between the next town over, which is like 1,400, but
Oh, okay.
so a
Yeah.
little bit more, but
Yeah.
it's it's a 35-minute commute roughly for
Mhm.
most people. So
Yeah. That's
um,
tough.
yeah, it's
That's
just
tough. So
and maybe you're doing 35 minutes in the city, but work's 5 miles away. Where for us, you're driving 30 miles for that 35 minutes.
wow.
You're,
Yeah.
you're going out in the middle of nowhere. So
Well, in Atlanta, the hardware store is my favorite hardware store. It's called Highland Hardware, and it's 2.5 miles from the shop,
yeah,
and it takes 25 minutes to
Yep.
get there.
Yep.
I mean, it's stupid.
right, yeah,
All the traffic lights and
Yep.
stuff in the city of Atlanta is crazy. I'm gonna go turn his volume down over there because it is a little aggressive and it's very distracting. Do they have a microphone of it and a speaker? Yeah.
yeah, they have to.
Yeah, they have to, right? They have to. All right. Well, our audience has dwindled down to 3 again. So,
It's about to dwindle to 2
oh,
when you get
good.
Chris up here.
Yeah. We're gonna have to send Chris Whitaker out to recruit more audience members. So, yeah. Anything else exciting you've seen here?
We're definitely looking into some of the drone technology as well.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. What do you plan on doing with drone technology?
well, initially we were just like, we can just fly the drones, just to take, weekly video of the course just to have comparisons. But now with all the new technology they have, that we can just scan the turf directly and it shows up. It's not thermal imaging, but doing the chlorophyll readings and stuff like that. So that way you can see the actual health of the turf.
Oh, really? Wow.
It'll map it and you can set it up. So when it comes up, it looks like a thermal image about here's your hot spots, here's your dead spots, here's your super healthy grass, so daily you can adjust your irrigation and stuff to it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty
and
cool stuff.
It is super cool stuff.
Yeah. That is
And
neat.
so we've kind of looked into that a bit. And then also because we're building this new 9 holes, just having a drone for construction documentation and inspection,
Yeah,
that
all
kind
that
of stuff.
stuff,
Yeah, it makes
yeah.
it really handy and slick. But then I've already forgotten the name of the booth, but they have the agricultural sprayer drones,
Okay.
which, has a 110-pound payload. And
Oh, wow.
so they said roughly 2 acres per gallon for application depending on what you're applying.
Yeah.
But, it holds 13 gallons. So you could do 20 to 25-ish acres, 26 if we went by perfect numbers.
Yeah.
But just the abilities for that. So for us, we could apply on greens one day and then we could load it up with mosquito killer and go out and spray the fairways and kill
Ah, okay.
mosquitoes and other
Yeah.
things. It's actually super cool technology
Huh.
for that kind of
Interesting.
stuff. So
I don't know. I just always kind of looked at the drone spraying as maybe that was just a game
well,
more than,
I think it's gotten a lot more
Yeah,
serious in the
really
last 2-3 years.
yeah, beneficial.
Yeah.
And, especially with drift and propellers and
Right.
it's
Well,
like,
so
how does all that work?
where we're at, all of our mosquito control is done by helicopter and
Oh, okay.
some ground application.
Yeah.
But the pilot that we had moved on. They got a new pilot, but he's not sure if he's sticking around. So we're looking into better options
Oh,
for
okay.
yeah, particularly the mosquitoes because we're at it should be the state bird. So
Oh.
it's bad.
Mosquitoes and state
They're
bird. That's
giant,
good
they're
stuff.
nasty. So
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
and especially out there because we got lots of sitting water, especially because we're on that 6,000 acre cattle ranch. So they still do flood irrigation. So what that is they just kick open the ditches and just flood the entire field. And that's how they irrigate for the hay out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And so as a result, you have
that turns into a rice field.
Yeah,
Almost,
more,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
think about rice fields and mosquitoes. Same idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah. Anything else exciting or?
I mean, those were the biggest things. I mean, there's always lots of cool things around here, but those are the ones that stick out the most in my mind. So
I don't. Did you make it by Hector's booth yet?
that's where I'm headed next.
All right. Yep. All right.
His presentation at 10 o'clock. I'm headed over there.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yep.
I'll make sure and get you out in time to get over there.
Yeah, for sure. I think you've got plenty of time.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
I mean, so
Yeah,
how?
I'm trying to think, did I see anything cool? I started on Hector's end and I made it to about the 5400 block.
Okay. Yeah. So not very far.
Yeah, not very far. And I don't know how many hours that was. What time we start yesterday? 10? Started at 10, took a little lunch break, left here at 5, made it maybe a third of the way through.
I did the opposite. I went that way and worked my way this way. So I'm 80% of the way like this way.
Oh, you're doing good
So,
then. Yeah,
yeah.
You're way ahead.
Well,
Way ahead of the curve.
I'm trying to hit up other things other than just equipment, but equipment's what we
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
So
that's
it's
what
what
we
you
do.
automatically,
Yeah.
zone in on.
Yeah,
so.
when I see some of these booths, I'm like, not my department, right?
Yeah,
Not my
exactly.
department.
There's been
that.
a few things I've collected information, for our super and stuff like that I've seen. I'm like, oh, I know he'll want something from this, but other than that,
Yeah.
because they send me by myself. So like,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So,
has your superintendent attended before?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Just chose not to come to this one.
Yep. Yeah.
Why did you want to come to this one?
Well, the biggest part, so we've been wanting to send us back out since I got hired, and it just hasn't worked out for us to make it. And so this year, because of the new 9 coming on, we need to come up with more efficient ways and more equipment. We're expanding the equipment, so we're trying to come up with what is best for what we're bringing on. How are we bringing the owner the most value for his money? So, and so some of that, like I said, particularly the robotics and what's new in that area, but also we're only halfway through this new 9 and we've had a few hurdles because we're mostly doing it kind of in-house. And like we're the contractor, so we're hiring different people and stuff like that, but we're trying to fill gaps and stuff. And some of that means we're providing equipment and stuff like that. So, either we're buying it, some of it we plan on renting, but for the most part, we're buying up equipment for finishing out this new 9. So that's kind of was part of sending me here, was in the full perspective of a new 9 coming on. How can we outfit this better? So.
Yeah, very cool. I don't know, it makes me think about coming to the trade show and the conference and networking with everybody. And Mitch Hunt from Traverse City, Michigan, told me a story. And his first trade show was in Orlando. And he, so we connected, hey, how you doing? Whatever, traded numbers. And then it's like 6 months later, he calls me one day and he's asked about his Foley grinder. I don't even remember what the problem was. I didn't have the solution, but I said, call Vince at Foley. So Vince, he's been at Foley for 30 plus years and he knows everything there is to know about a Foley grinder, inside and out. And Mitch had already, before he called me, he had called his local distributor that sells Toro or Foley and also Toro. And they came out and gave him a quote of $4,500 to repair his grinder. And so anyway, he calls me, I send him to Vince. Vince says you need a $200 part. And so he's telling Steve Hammond, his boss, that's also a GCSAA board member, that. And he's like, that's worth the price of getting into the trade show.
Yeah.
You made one connection. You made one phone call to another phone call and it saved the club that much money.
Yep.
So that's a good way to justify it. And then Kelly and I were talking to, what is his name? The Northeast guy, Connecticut, another board member, Mark Weston, second favorite board member of mine, just below Scott Griffiths, the Georgia guy.
Yeah.
So, it's all good. Anyway, Mark was saying that he puts his equipment manager coming to show and the parts line item on their budget. Yeah. Because if he puts it under education, they're like, "Yee, we're cutting education. You don't need education." So he puts it in parts. I'm like, that was pretty clever.
Yeah, that was pretty clever.
That was worth my price of admission to come this year to find out that little trick.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was good stuff.
Does your whole crew come out for this?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I'm the only one here from my club. We're doing the renovation now, so director of agronomy, he didn't want to come out. And normally he doesn't send a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, the main reason that I get to come is put in a proposal to teach for GCSAA each year.
Yeah.
And that's a good way of getting in. So anybody that's looking to get to a trade show, put in your proposal. And it's open to the end of February. End of March. Okay. Got plenty of time to get those proposals in. And if you need help putting together a proposal, reach out to GCSAA. You mean name any names? Reach out to Brandy. What's your last name, Brandy? Turner. I knew that. I've seen it on your name tag several times, but reach out to Brandy Turner and she would be happy to help you put together a proposal to teach. That's a good way to get here.
Yeah.
And it gets you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
So I've told the story, I know, before on the podcast, but I'll tell it again. My first year being an instructor was in San Antonio, and I did that in conjunction with Corey Phillips and the late Eric Duncanson, passed away a few years ago. And so it was three of us giving this education, and it was how to study or train up for the EMCP exams, like how to pass the exam, right? Yeah. So a little study guide overview. And I was so nervous. I was ready to throw up in the corner. Yeah, it was terrible. And there was probably 15 people in the room.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it wasn't like it was a really big room. It was a small room, but I was so nervous and just about to lose it. And then now, I mean, you saw the presentation Tuesday. We had 100 people in there, and it's like, this is what you do.
Yep.
You know, and
you just got to get used to it.
Right. You got to get used to it. And I was explaining this to somebody, I think, last night, is the first time you took a carburetor apart, it could have been a little nervous.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
There's a lot of little parts.
Yeah, these are a lot of little parts. I got to keep up with all these parts. Maybe you get a little overwhelmed. But after you tear it apart for the 10th time, you're like, okay, this goes here, that goes there. You know, it's no big deal.
Yeah, you get to the point where literally somebody brings you a carburetor in 46 pieces, and they're like, I don't know, and you're like,
yeah,
you can just put it back together. You're like, don't have to think about it.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly, exactly right.
It, so.
Yep.
But
so what's on your agenda for today?
This.
Well, I mean, any certain
just
things
the show.
I'm going to hit
today? I'm going to hit Hector's, both his classes, and then just finish out the trade show, but that's all I've got today. So
gotcha.
So
you want to come up here and talk for a minute, Chris?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Chris has nothing to say.
Yeah. Whatever. Chris always has something to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Come on.
Well, thanks, Trent.
Thank you so much, Justin Wilkerson, everybody. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Great job. You know how to use that?
Yeah, I had to do this yesterday.
Oh, okay. Maybe that'll work right there. We'll see if your tag hits it.
All right. Hopefully it doesn't.
Did you get a shorter lanyard than everybody else?
No, I tied it on the back just so I'm
Tied
not
it on
ripping
the
off my
back.
ribbons at the bottom.
Oh, all right. Are you trying to see how many ribbons you can get on a badge?
Yes.
Okay.
The ribbon game, it has to be
the ribbon-
strong.
Yeah, it's got to bring a strong ribbon game to show. Yeah. Yeah. Is that a custom international member
Of
ribbon?
course it's a custom
that you make?
international. Well, it's one of these things being Canadian. There isn't a lot of other things out there, but you have an international buyer and you also have a committee member. So if you combine the two of them, you get international member. And my
okay.
superintendent, he's an international member.
Mm-hmm.
So why doesn't the GCSAA have an international ribbon? But it's
You know
just
why?
silly.
There's not another color in the alphabet.
I suppose.
See, I mean,
Yeah. There's no more selection of colors,
Yeah.
of background colors.
there's no more colors. Yeah, alphabet. This is my podcast. I can make it up as I go here. All right. Yeah. No more help from the peanut gallery. Thank you.
Supercharge course maintenance with Task Tracker, the leading golf course maintenance software in the industry. Built for precision and efficiency, Task Tracker simplifies daily operations, optimizes water usage, and keeps your team on track. With real-time updates and streamlined workflows, it's the essential tool for modern superintendents. Learn more at www.clubessentials.com/task tracker. Let's get back to the episode.
So, have you enjoyed your show here?
I love these shows.
Yeah.
These are awesome.
What was the best education? The one you gave?
Well, no, the one that I actually really appreciated was Austin Wright's portfolio.
Oh, yeah.
How he's working it in conjunction with the resume, and when you're out going actually looking for that new position or that new location, the portfolio just supports your resume, and it's basically pictures, which are 1,000 words. And it really sort of promoted him, so he was able to get his position. But I'm not looking. But it's nice just to have a record of what you've done, because it does showcase you and your career.
Yeah. And Austin is not a social media person.
I know.
So
Yeah.
I think I do think some people, and Twitter's changed. It's not the same, in my opinion. I really dislike the platform. I mean, it's just not what it was, and it doesn't seem like there's as much activity, or the algorithm's different or something, because I'll just see all this crap in my feed, and I don't even follow all these people, and I'm like, I don't want to see any of this stuff. But anyway, social media can be a good portfolio.
It can, and
It
that's
could
what
be.
I started, and that's why I
Yeah.
was all over Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter. I love Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice to be able to put all your pictures on there, just send messages, see what other guys are doing, learn from them. But yeah, there's way too much advertising. I think Elon needs some more money or something.
Yeah.
It's foolish.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome. Hey, we got some other people showed up. Yay! Our South Florida guys, John Watson and Haas Manglo. Sorry, dude. Yeah, it's tough.
It's just Haas.
Yeah. It's just hot. That's what I like. It's hot. All right. Other than the portfolio,
I was busy teaching.
busy teaching.
Yeah.
So what talks did you give?
I was actually speaking to the superintendents about building relations with your equipment manager.
You did that with Chris Hyman?
Yeah, we did that.
Awesome.
And that was running around all over the place, one end of the building to the other. I know how many steps I didn't do, but it was just crazy. But yeah,
That's good.
it
Good
was,
stuff.
it's awesome just to be able to network, do this kind of stuff, make friends, get out of your comfort zone, because
Yeah.
I'm totally throwing this at you, because when you came up to see me in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, I met this guy outside who was having a dart, and he was just enjoying the weather and enjoying the view. And we just started chatting and talking, and I associate you as one of my friends and one of my mentors because of the fact that you basically started putting yourself out there and showing me what you could do as an equipment manager. And I've never been one-on-one with you to be able to say thank you, but thank you very much, buddy.
Oh, well, thank you.
I
That's
totally
awesome.
appreciate
awesome.
you and what you've done. And anytime that you're going to do one of these things, if I'm in the area, I'm going to come down and support
Thank
you.
you so much for supporting me and saying that too. And I don't know what inspired me to do that. I don't know.
Well,
Just started doing it. But and then that's the thing I've learned since starting is just get out of your comfort zone and do some stuff. And it could be fun.
oh, it's very fun. I think it's the funnest thing out here.
I mean, I was always the guy at most of these parties that was over in the corner hanging out by myself, or maybe I knew somebody and I would just stay there and talk to them the whole time
Mm-hmm.
and not meet any other new people. And I still struggle, sometimes with that. But
You've definitely blossomed and come out of your
yes,
shell.
yeah, I come out of my shell a little bit, and there's probably maybe some people want to put me back in there, but that's all right too.
No, it's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's been a lot of fun. It's been super rewarding. The podcast and now the YouTube channel. I get texts and DMs and emails and like,
But you're
man,
willing
I
to
love
accept
this
them
is
and
great.
respond to them as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
That's the best part of it. And that's almost like a tight community that's equipment manager based that we can rely upon and we can lean on.
Oh,
and
for sure.
and yeah, it's just a great experience just to be able to be part of this organization and part of this group.
Well, yeah, the WhatsApp group I think is truly remarkable. And I don't know where the gentleman got my number from, but I added him last night.
Oh yeah.
But he sent me a message in WhatsApp, a voice message.
Oh.
So, and I listened to it, and he's in, I forget the name of the club, but he's in St. Lucia, and he's having, good many problems with different equipment and wanted to join the group.
Yeah,
So he's in there
it's
now,
going all the little corners of the
and
world.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But it's, I think one of the most valuable resources in our industry for an equipment manager is that group because
Networking.
there's so
Yeah.
much knowledge in there. Yeah, and the networking, I mean, that's a huge aspect of it. And then the other cool thing about coming to the conference and the trade show, you get to put a lot of faces to names,
Yeah.
right? You see them in the WhatsApp group or on social media or something like that. And here they are sitting in person, just like this. It's awesome.
Well, yeah, I know Haas for fishing, but at least I see his picture all the time. Everyone knows me as the little golf ball, but they've never seen my face that much. But who knows,
Yeah.
that could change. But it's totally a wonderful thing to be able to network and put faces with profiles
Yeah, for
And,
sure, for sure.
in this world. And yeah, how the hell am I supposed to know about you guys in deep South states, warm states? Then I'm stuck in the frozen north, and
Yeah,
I can still call you up. I have called you up in the past, and
Yeah,
I've chased
yeah.
something down in with the John Deere world because I don't have a lot of John Deere. I'm mostly Toro, but
hmm
it's nice to be able to do that part of it.
When I don't know because I don't see it, but who knows how much in the WhatsApp group, how much chats goes on outside of the group. People connecting directly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Especially if they're in the kind of the same area or whatever. Y'all have a WhatsApp group, right, in South Florida? I mean, huge group.
Yeah,
of
we've got
people,
one in Alberta.
All right,
Yeah,
it's great.
we started off just as a roundtable talk, and
Yeah,
everyone sort of threw their name into the WhatsApp thing, and we'll shuffle it around, and we'll bounce questions off, or we'll try to unload a piece of equipment that we're not using anymore, but it might be helpful for someone else. So
oh, right,
we're
right.
selling stuff, and
Yeah, no, it's good
yeah,
stuff.
it's nice to be able to do that as well, because little groups become bigger groups that become international groups.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't seen much. We do have some international people in the Real Turf Techs
Yep.
WhatsApp group, but I hadn't seen much for them lately. But,
Oh, they're in a
lot
way
lot
different time zone.
zone, and yeah, especially from you, the UK to
Yeah,
the
who's it?
mountain time.
Chris Minton and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Chris
Chris
Fogg and
Minton
stuff like that.
and
Matthew
I-
Axton, he's way over there as well. So
then Matthew Kane, then Dubai.
so
So yeah, that's the one I got to get on the list. That's where I want to go to do a tips and tricks seminar.
well,
Is
they should
Dubai.
actually be coming here and presenting the differences.
well,
To
yeah,
be
that
able
would
to,
be
if
good
they
stuff
actually
too.
came and showed the differences between what they do during it's like from what I do in the winter, December months, I basically sit and build. How are you in December? Are you guys busy playing golf and shutting down in the summer or anything like that? That for me, that was completely different. And
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have known that your busy season is December through February, where everything is frozen and hibernating in my world.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I was even taken back a little bit when they invited me down to South Florida. They're like, yeah, we're fixing to get our H-2B labor in. And this is like September. Like H-2B comes in October and leaves in what, April-ish or something. And we get our H-2B help in April and they leave at the end of November,
Hmm.
Yeah. And we're not that far away, 7 hours away. So, well, no, from Chris Johnson's shop to my place is like 9 hours. But yeah, good
That's
point.
just because of traffic.
Yeah. But no, it is eye opening
It
the
is.
way, we're all doing similar stuff. And one thing that Brian Epplin said that's been sticking with me, he's in Nebraska, and I mean, they're probably a longer season than you have in
Yeah.
Alberta. it's a lot shorter than the season I have in Atlanta. He's like, the pay's about the same,
Well,
for me, versus him, and he's got a lot more free time, which
well,
is, cool too.
it was
I
one
don't
of
see
these
how y'all
things.
do it in South Florida. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. Well, when a few years before it started, they were having a lot of difficulties keeping an equipment manager or keeping even just a mechanic. They would lay them off, and then they'd have to go through the hassle of trying to find someone in April or March or May, depending upon Mother Nature would show up. And it was very difficult for them to maintain a full-time position. So at one point they said, okay, we're going to need to make this a full-time position. And they sort of bit the bullet. And when it's cold and when the greens are put to sleep and stuff like that, I really don't do a lot of grinding. All my superintendents, they basically said, okay, the assistants, we need to keep them on as well. Let's teach them about real geometry, real specifics, bearings, blades, whatever, angles, faces, why you do all that kind of stuff. So we said, okay, let's share the knowledge of it. So there is a little bit of sharing of some tasks, but I'm not going to ask them to rebuild a carburetor
Well,
because
yeah.
it's not in their lane. And
Right.
they're not going to ask me to say, what would you recommend on this disease? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm in my lane. I'm happy in my lane. I'll just travel along and do it.
Right. No, that's awesome though, and I think it gives them a head start on their career,
Mhm.
because I do think every superintendent should at least understand the basics of cutting unit setup,
Well,
and sharpening and those kind of things.
yeah, they should know the basics, and I appreciate the fact that when they do some of these little things, that they understand where we're coming from when we have to deal with it. And when, I know that your big pet peeve is, should I put blades into sand and put that in the right budget and stuff like that? But I don't know any different, so it's just like, oh, right, well, they're putting sand out there, they're going to eat metal, and that's what's going to happen.
Right.
It's
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what happens.
in the overall big picture of the whole golf course, it's still one bank account that the check gets cut from. So if they're
Yes.
buying sand, if they're buying parts, if they're buying new equipment, if they're paying labor, it's still the whole club. And if I
Yeah,
can,
but I only got so much in my equipment
in your little
repair
pie.
line item. Yeah, so I don't want any more to come out of that than has to.
Mhm.
Live audience question right here from Haas. So Haas's question is, in Alberta, when does the grass shut down, and what do you do and how long are you shut down?
We have a hard shutdown date of October 15th. We basically close down the course. We put tarps out. We insulate all the greens and stuff just so they stay sort of alive. But we'll have frost kill and stuff like that. But we could still be like tank watering up until November and December sometimes, depending upon how much the weather changes, because I'll have a temperature change of 40 degrees easily. It will go from 10 degrees all the way up to 50 degrees. So any water or any ice that's out there, it'll have melted. Anything that we can do to help sort of keep the grass going, we do it. So we've lost all of our staff. We'll have an assistant super having to fill up a tank and go out there, wear big rubber gloves to keep his hands warm, and they'll just go out there and water the grass. We've got POA, so it'll look like crap until the middle of June. So yes, we might put out something to make it look a little greener, but we also have ryegrass mixed into it as well. And we just try to keep it going. It's just one of these weird things that we react based upon what Mother Nature gives us. If we can open up in May, we'll do it. If we have to open up in March, even better. But we still could have a snow event in July, the hottest month. Yeah.
That's crazy.
We have all kinds of weird things. We had one where it was Snowmageddon. We had trees were out in full leaf. We had all the snow come in here, and it basically just snapped trees in half. It would rip limbs off and stuff, and we just ran around trying to get that.
Do you have a second part to that question? What do you do in the wintertime?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. We mow our greens up until we cover them. With our insulation of the greens, we have a permeable tarp, some form of insulation, and then an impermeable tarp. We throw down the permeable tarp just because it'll collect all the straw and all the little bits and pieces that we get like a good 12 to 18 inches of insulation. Then we cover that with an impermeable, so if any water or snow gets onto it, it's not going to leach into the insulation. So we have that good air zone on it. In the winter, we'll also have to put in venting tubes. So any necrotic gases and stuff like that, there's getting some fresh air going into it, and it tries to keep it in a happier state. And my boss says, I don't know if it works or if it doesn't, but if we didn't do it and the greens totally died out on us, there'd be a lot of issues. So as a precaution, we're going to do it just because. So it's helpful.
Like, this makes me think in Atlanta, when we cover our Bermuda greens, if the course down the road covered, you better cover too, you know, because if you didn't, then you have winter kill or something like that. Like, well,
but how quick does it recover for you?
Well, winter kill, luckily on greens, we have not had winter kill, but I remember having winter kill on 419 Bermuda grass fairways, and there is no recovery.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll like kill the whole fairway, which
Okay.
is, yeah. And
Yeah,
then
we've had
you end
huge
up
sections of
either sodding or
resodding.
sprigging, yeah, a whole fairway. Yeah, when you start sodding or sprigging fairways, that takes a while for it to come back.
Yeah, we've had situations where we lost half of a green. So we're throwing seed out. We're putting grow tarps on it. That'll let the light in, keep the moisture in, peel them off, put them on, peel them off, put them on. And then we've had to do that for weeks.
Yeah.
Just to get it back into a playing surface and condition.
Yep, crazy. Any other questions from the audience? Our audience is growing. It's trying to, Chris.
Come on, Tyler. Why don't you come up here and talk about Bernhard stuff? All right. This young gentleman, he won the Bernhard experience, and he went over to Britain.
Yeah.
And he was one of the equipment managers that actually got to experience that.
Right here. Sit down. Yeah, and we only got just a minute. Figure out how to get this on. There it is. There's the clip. All right. Thank you, Chris Whitaker, for the support, the friendship. I'll just clip her right there. Should be good.
Check.
Yep. Mic check.
I get the buttery smooth on here.
How do you say your last name?
Miget.
Miget.
It looks like midget without the D.
Okay. Is that French?
Very French, very classy.
All right. So Tyler Miget, thanks for sitting down with us. And Chris Whitaker kind of pointed you out and said, hey, come up. Because is it the Bernhard Academy?
So
what was it called?
The Bernhard Delegation.
Bernhard Delegation.
So it was the Bernhard Company and BIG, the British and International Greenkeepers Association, and the GCSAA put this all together. So the Bernhard Delegation, they had been bringing guys to our trade show for, I think, over 20 years. So there have been a couple iterations of it where they've taken, folks from our association and took them over to BTME, which is their trade show and their continuing education stuff. But I think this is our kind of
Thank you, Justin, for coming by. Sorry to interrupt.
This will be like the next iteration where every other year, kind of like a Ryder Cup or something, I guess, where they'll send 10 of us over there. And then the following year, 10 of them will come over here to the US and kind of back and forth. So I was honored to be selected for the first iteration of that for us.
Was it all equipment managers?
I was the sole equipment manager.
Sole equipment manager.
So
awesome.
I would, out of the 10. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a real honor. I got to brush shoulders with some pretty awesome folks. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out DJ Brent Downs.
Okay.
And Matt Gourlay was on our delegation as well.
Okay. Yeah.
He won the President's Award yesterday. So
yep.
Clay Payne, Buffalo Dunes, a real legend in the business in the making. So yeah, really awesome.
That is good stuff.
Yeah. So we got to do a number of site visits, and I can't say enough for the experience and the hospitality that the Bernhard Company folks showed us. Sammy, Angelique, and Steve, and obviously we got to do the education and trade show, which is way different than ours here.
Yeah. A lot smaller, I'm guessing. Or not?
Yeah, definitely smaller, and it's in a town called Harrogate, which is like north of Leeds, and we have like one big open hall here, and theirs is like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 different smaller halls, and it's kind of a labyrinth. You get in and then you're just kind of stuck in there until you can find your way out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a blast, and then another part of that is, we got to go tour like the Man City campus, Manchester City Football Club, and see all of their agronomic stuff. And yeah,
where's Chris Minton at?
Chris Minton.
Yep.
He's
a UK guy, and he's at one of the
Chris Minton.
Stadiums.
What I'm awful with names, but I could picture a face.
Okay.
So Chris Minton is he's at Leicester City Football Club, and he's actually one of the guys spearheading over there the TITO, which is the Turf Equipment Technicians Organization, spelt with an S, so they're very classy. But no, they're studs over there. I got to go in and sit with them for a little bit and connected with them.
And you get to meet Matthew Axton?
Probably at some point.
He's part of that group too.
Yeah.
Off the floor.
I think Matthew wasn't there. If you're listening and you were there and I did meet you, I suck. I'm really sorry. But I got to hang out with James.
Okay. Wilkerson, I think.
Oh gee, I didn't put a last name.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
And my really bombing this right now.
No, you're not bombing at all. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
everybody likes to get confused with names. I mean, I do it all the time.
You show me pictures. We have a picture board. I could poke anybody out, but I met that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the last few days we got to go to Manchester City. Got to go to Royal Birkdale, Royal Liverpool.
Awesome.
And Wallasey, and get site
Very
visits
cool.
at all those places. And it was a tremendous experience, but I think getting to do it shoulder to shoulder with 8 other of my countrymen, well, minus Carol Turner. She's a Canadian, total stud.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, they were all awesome, but I guess people from our continent, continent's lads. It was so awesome to get to see what they were thinking, what they were observing at these different places, kind of the where are the problems similar that we're solving and where are the problems different. And it was just a fabulous experience, and I'm stoked to have those connections coming home.
Yeah. How do you get in on that?
It's a pretty lengthy application process. I think it was maybe 5 months. Obviously, like a written application that's vetted. They had hundreds of applicants. And,
I was one of them.
Were you?
Yeah, I applied.
Oh,
I sure did.
That's why you're angry at me.
Yeah, that's why I'm really mad right now. No, man, I'm happy for you. Seriously.
I don't know.
It's awesome.
Written application, a couple phone
I don't
interviews.
remember if I saw an email maybe for, asking for the application.
Oh.
And then I sent in an application.
Yeah.
And then obviously I didn't hear anything else back, but you got to do.
Yeah. Well, nobody reached out to me for it. I was piddling around on the GCSAA website looking for some professional development opportunities. And I read through the Links to Success thing and thought it was a complete long shot. Like I would have no chance to do it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a written interview, a couple phone interviews, and then you had to make a 5-minute video, and that was about all the direction that you got. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, we pestered Sammy about that. Like, what was that? Like, could you give us a little more direction? And she was like, well, the whole selection committee, that's kind of what we wanted. We wanted to see what you would come up with. And, Sammy
cool.
Strutt she's leading the Bernhardt Academy like organization now. I guess Steve Nixon poached her from Biga, so Jim Croxton's a little pissed, but not actually. But it's all in jest. But real studs out there.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
telling us about your experience.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We're gonna wrap this thing up. We had an hour, so
we're a little over. You could cut me out.
No, it's all good, man. No, it's really good. Thank you so much for getting up here, and thanks for the recommendation, Chris. And thank everybody else for stopping by and supporting the Real Turf Techs podcast. I hope we can do it again next year. I don't know. This might go away, I guess. So I get here today, and I'm like, because they sent me an email like in December and said, do you want to do the live podcast? I'm like, sure. Did it the last 2 years. It's fun. Whatever. We'll do it. And so, I will do it later in the day next time for sure. But you could sign up Wednesday or today. And I just picked 9 o'clock today, whatever. nobody done one yesterday, and this will be the only one today. So maybe it's going away. I don't know. But so
let's keep it alive, Trent.
we're going to try to keep it alive. Well, I mean, long as they'll give me the space, I'll do it. If not, I mean, we could, I guess, get in on.
I know a guy.
Put some chairs together and stuff. But yeah,
yeah.
Thanks for being here. Thanks, Justin Wilkerson and Chris Whitaker for also guesting today. Until next time, see you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Real Turf Techs podcast. I hope you learned something today. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any topics you would like to discuss or you'd like to be a guest, find us on Twitter at Real Turf Techs. See you, bye.